to another episode of Tap Outs and Touchdowns.
Man, we look like I don't know what you'd say we look like. We look like a couple of weirdos and some vacation hats.
I like it.
Welcome everybody. It's a live football episode, sort of the penultimate episode of Tap Outs and Touchdowns for season 6, if you can believe that, Bill. Bill, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. Super Bowl week. Football Wednesday, the last Football Wednesday for a bit, and I think I feel a little bit about the Super Bowl this year like you did about the college football playoff final. Just dragging myself into the Super Bowl party. Like, come on, you got to do it. We do it every year.
If it wasn't for the fact that there was a party, I would contemplating not watching this year for the first time ever.
I know. I'm with you on that.
It's really hard to get into it. If you're watching the show live with us, which nobody is yet, we are on Facebook and YouTube, facebook.com/tapoutsandtouchdowns. And YouTube, I shared the YouTube link on X, so we'll see how that goes. To the guy who is tweeting me about Angel Reese on X, you can kindly get lost. That's been fun. That's been a fun few days. Every day, so this guy, I guess this is sort of my Homer's Corner, which really isn't. If you know who Angel Reese is, she was a women's basketball player for LSU. She was the second draft pick for the Chicago, Lynx Fire, whatever they are in the WNBA. That's how much I
could not tell you.
She was drafted behind Camila Cardoso from South Carolina. And I mean, there's videos because it was sort of like a semi-rivalry between her and Caitlin Clark because they played in the Final Four when they were in college. And it's basically this arrogance about herself that she's the best there is. And there's all sorts of videos about her, just putting up brick after brick and literally putting up bricks under the rim so she can get rebounds because she's not hitting shots. And she got kicked. They're in some sort of 3-on-3 league, and she got ejected from a game. And she posted something about she posted something on X, and I basically made a comment I've never seen somebody so mid get so much publicity since LeVar Ball launched BBB. And this dude, at least once a day, has come on to say some nonsense to me. So that's been fun. Welcome to X, I suppose.
He's in love.
Listen to his last response to me 2 hours ago. You sound like a follower. Alphas are leaders. Alphas are leaders. You're beta. It's who talks like that? It's hilarious.
Somebody that sits on social media way too much.
Oh, yeah. That's it. I just,
nobody says that in real life. At work, people would just laugh you out of the room.
Social media is for political arguments and chicks selling OnlyFans. That's what social media has turned to. That's all.
I'm in. That's exactly what.
I'm getting ready. I want to get off social media at this point. It's just so bad. But
you see me. How often do I post on Facebook, Ryan? And I don't do any other social media. Very rarely.
That's kind of the point. I kind of look like buckwheat. No, that's kind of the point, though. I don't post much outside of on this podcast pages, and even then, it's just just reading stuff makes me want to not quite jump off a bridge, but at least walk to the edge and look over and contemplate it. You know what I mean? That being said, it is the last Wednesday before the Super Bowl. So let's get into some NFL news. If you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, please leave a comment wherever you are in the chat, and we'll read it here on the air. If there's something you think we should bring to the show, by all means, because we're going to be talking some trade news in the NFL, some prop bets for the Super Bowl, and then we're going to end the show sort of just predicting the Super Bowl. So let's get into it because there's no Homer's Corner this week as we are in our second to last episode of season 6 when it comes to football shows here on the podcast. So let's get into it. There are 2 big trade stories coming out of the NFL over the last week or so. One comes out of Los Angeles as the Rams have made their intentions known that they plan to trade away star wide receiver Cooper Kupp. I believe he's got 2 more years left on his contract. He is starting to get up there in age. Came in late this year off of an injury from the year prior. Had some decent, I think he had over 700 receiving yards this year, so not a bad season. Cooper Kupp has made it clear that this was not what he wanted, that he had no intention of ever leaving LA. He wanted to start his career and end his career with the Rams, but the Rams have other plans. That being said, Bill, what are your thoughts on the Rams basically just like sending somebody away that doesn't want to go? And where do you think would be a good landing spot for Cooper Kupp?
Well, I mean, I haven't really put that much thought into where Cooper Kupp could go, but it's anybody that needs a good receiver. That's for sure. You might have to deal with some injuries. Obviously, he's had some pretty, he's had injuries 2 years in a row. So other than that, the guy was, I mean, he was dominant. Didn't he win a Super Bowl MVP? Wasn't he the Super Bowl MVP? I thought he was, wasn't he?
I think he might have been, actually.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't that long ago. The guy was fantastic. Came out of Eastern Washington, if you remember that. I do, because I lived up there at the time when he was drafted. But no, the guy's really good. I know he's getting a little bit long in the tooth. I forget. He's 31 years old. And like you said, he's got more years on his deal. And obviously he gets paid well. But I mean, the guy, when he's healthy, he gets open. So I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to have him on their football team. I don't know how much you want to give for him at this point because the Rams have already said, like, hey, we want to get rid of him. I feel like, well, I mean, you just have to see. It's going to be a bidding war at that point that's going to push the trade value up. But, I mean, what do I feel about him leaving? I don't know what the Rams are doing, what their plan is. Obviously, you're going to look to draft a wide receiver in the draft. They've only got three wide receivers if they trade him under contract. Puka Nacua, obviously fantastic, being one of them. But you know as well as I do, Ryan, if you have more than one wide receiver, it makes your wide receiver room and the way your wide receivers play a whole lot better. You don't see a lot of wide receivers that can shine without somebody helping them out. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins being an example. You know, T. Higgins takes pressure off Jamar Chase. I feel like the only one that I feel like doesn't really have help in the NFL that still kills it is Justin Jefferson. Other than that, I feel like you have to have help. You've got to have another guy in the room.
You didn't see Jordan Addison this season?
I'm not a huge, I mean, but this is the only year he's been really good. Every year there's another receiver on that team that does okay, but nobody that just like you're really, really scared of that you would. So like T. Higgins, if he goes into free agency this year, is the consensus #1 wide receiver pick for free agency, correct? Is there anybody is there anybody on Minnesota that would be in that consideration to be that good if they were a free agent? I don't think so. So
I think Jordan Addison is only in year 2 or 3 of his NFL career. I think he could be when his contract is up. By the way, Mama Frick in the house. Good to see you. Glad you like the hats.
Love the hats.
I mean,
she said love the hats. She didn't say like the hats. She said love the hats.
Apologies. Too bad your dad's not at your house with his hat too. We could all rock it.
I know, just hanging out. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. Honestly, by the way, this hat is the reason why I dropped my phone in the ocean. Like I remember the point when I was like, "Oh my God, look, we got the same hat," and that's when I forgot that I had my phone in my pocket.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You didn't drop your phone in the ocean.
No, I
brought your phone into the ocean.
Yeah, my
you decided
phone
to make phone calls from the water in the water.
Yeah, no, I was so excited to show you. Hey, look what we got you. It's a hat like mine. And then I was like, oh God, my phone is in my pocket.
Oh, I was excited though.
Sean McElveen, nice hat. I heard Saquon is a big Kevin Hart fan. If Philly wins, will the team let him on the trophy stage this time? I don't know. We haven't quite gotten there yet. I like where your head's at. As far as Cooper Kupp goes, like it sucks when there's a team that doesn't want you, decides to let you go. I'm looking at you, Dallas Mavericks, and Luka Doncic. I still don't think Luka Doncic is over that trade, despite the fact that he's in LA. I don't think LeBron James is ready for that. Is ready for that conversation because it basically is. He's one step out the door now. He wanted to end his career in LA, so a lot of going with Los Angeles sports when it comes to that. But when it comes to Cooper Kupp, I don't know. He's up there. He's a slot receiver. He's a better Adam Thielen. Like I'm thinking years ago when it was in the Patriots heyday, I'm thinking guys like that fit the Cooper Kupp mold that weren't as good as Cooper Kupp is. I'm thinking like the Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola. I'm thinking along those lines.
Wes Welker
is a good one. But back then you had quarterbacks like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady who could just like bounce and forth back all these between all these guys. I don't know. I think you hate to say Kansas City, because Kansas City has like 8 #1 receivers on that team now, like with DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood Brown, so on and so forth. But I mean, it's sort of something they sort of lack right now is the lack of a slot receiver. I mean, they've got Travis Kelce, but like how I know Kelce just said this week he wants to go at least 3 more years in the NFL, but I don't know. Like, there's a lot of teams that can use a slot receiver. Dallas Cowboys, but are the Cowboys willing to come off some draft capital to go get Cooper Kupp? You think that the New York Giants, yeah, they got Malik Neighbors, but that's it. You talk about some of those like number 2 pieces, like you're missing some of that on some of these teams. I don't know. Like, I mean, if Tampa Bay loses Chris Godwin in free agency, maybe that Tampa Bay winds up being a nice landing spot for Cooper Kupp.
I like that one. That one I like.
I mean, you think about teams that really don't have a lot of receivers. I mean, Jacksonville is going to need some talent built around that team. New Orleans, I don't know who plays for New Orleans anymore.
Chris Olave's there.
Chris Olave, but again,
Michael Thomas is like 300 years old.
Is he still on the roster?
I think he's still there. Yeah, I think I drafted him on my fantasy team, not this year, but last year. So yeah. I think he's still there.
I don't know. Whoever gets Cooper Kupp's going to get a nice little puzzle piece that's going to alleviate one of their receivers on their roster. So I'm curious to see where he goes. We kind of all had a feeling going into the season, regardless of how he played, that Puka Nacua is that guy in Los Angeles now. And I think Matt Stafford's in his what do they call it when you're getting older? His twilight years. So I think when it comes to trying to look for the future and build for the future, you're going to have to start getting rid of some of that age. And Cooper Kupp's going to be the first domino. And then there's potential Matt Stafford could be on the move. But we'll see what happens there. But Cooper Kupp on the market when the NFL offseason starts. Another guy who wants to leave his current home is reigning defensive player of the year in the NFL, Myles Garrett, who I believe quietly tried to negotiate with the Browns with his agent to request a trade. The Browns have come out and avidly said multiple times that we're not letting go of Myles Garrett. And so Myles Garrett finally came public with it and said, you know what? I don't want to be in Cleveland anymore. He's going to the Pro Bowl. He's talking to a bunch of guys that are on really good teams and realizes that I'm in the prime of my career. I believe he's 29, somewhere between 29 and 31 years old. Again, reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Everybody sort of took a dump on Jadeveon Clowney a few years ago because he didn't want to, come off of his role in favor of Myles Garrett. But Myles Garrett's clearly the star of that defense. And Myles Garrett said, don't worry, I'll hold down the fort here in Cleveland. And then he very quickly realized that there's not really a fort to hold down in Cleveland. I mean, they've got Deshaun Watson on the hook for another monster year of his contract that he will not be playing next year after he retore his Achilles in rehab of his Achilles injury that he suffered during last season. And I think Myles Garrett's tired of the quote-unquote rebuild in Cleveland. But you know what they said? The state of Ohio was so great that LeBron left twice. What are your thoughts on Myles Garrett trying to leave Cleveland? And what kind of landing spots do you think, might be? I mean, all 31 teams are going to come after Myles Garrett. Where do you see Myles Garrett going?
I mean, Cleveland's already said they don't want to trade him. I hate to say it, but why? What? They own him. That's what it is. That's what a contract is. It's what a contract is. You have to play for that team.
I wouldn't put it that way, but
but it is what it is. It's really what it is. And so until, I mean, what's he going to do? Hold out? Then he doesn't get paid. So I don't know how you fix this situation. It's a weird thing. We all love players that want to play for a team and make a team better, correct? Myles Garrett has given his blood, sweat, and tears to the Cleveland Browns for I don't know how many years now, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And he's fantastic, still fantastic. He's great. But you hate to see a player that just says, you know what, I'm tired of this, I'm out. You've got him under contract. Why'd you sign? Yeah, you wanted the money. This is what Tyreek did after they lost their last game of the season. I want out. They went back to him and said, listen, man, you were not going anywhere. Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. You're right. You're paying me $30 million a year to play a game. And yeah, but I don't know. Why did you sign? Why did you sign the deal you've signed? If things went bad, you were going to want out. I get it. I understand he wants to win. I get it. And I'm okay with that part of it. I do understand that. But when you sign the contract, you belong to that team and they belong. You are part of that team. and you're part of that team until that contract is up. And I don't like a player coming out and saying, I want out. I don't care what my contract says. I want out. I don't like it. I don't like it. That I don't like. I do understand him wanting to win. I completely understand that. But tough. Sorry.
So there's also a report that came out that the Browns wanted to restructure his contract and make him the highest paid defensive player in NFL history.
Which he deserves.
It's crazy that he doesn't want that from Cleveland. Like he would forego that money to go play somewhere else. So to your point, he wants to win. I'm sure that when signing with the Cleveland Browns, that they made sort of some sort of concession. Like, listen, we'll be competitive, and we're going to win some games. All you got to do is sign that dotted line. Cleveland didn't hold up to that bargain. I think they're going to be drafting the top 10 for the what?
Does it say that in his contract? Like, hey, if we don't stay competitive, you can stay.
No, that's not.
I mean,
that's
what do you
not
mean?
what I
What do you
meant.
mean? Come on.
It's no, but like you're talking about the fact that he signed with a team, he took the money and all that stuff, but like you also signed with a team. Like there's certain reasons why people sign with teams. Jadeveon Clowney signed with Carolina. I don't think he expected to win a Super Bowl in Carolina. He signed with Carolina because he's gonna be closer to home. You had Tom Brady sign with Tampa Bay because he wanted to go to Florida, didn't want to go to Jacksonville or Miami, and we couldn't go to Miami because of the whole tampering thing. Players sign with teams for different reasons. One of the reasons Myles Garrett wanted to stay in Cleveland was because he believed in the direction of the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns organization took a giant dump on that when they traded for Deshaun Watson and made Deshaun Watson the highest paid quarterback in the NFL and guaranteed his entire contract.
Wait a minute.
And handcuffed handcuffed the team from being able to build a competitive roster, to being able to build a competitive team.
When that happened, Deshaun Watson was highly sought after.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. Miami Dolphins were considering trading Tua Tagovailoa for him. Doesn't matter.
3 teams.
He knew that, but listen, he had just come off his towel scandal. We call it a towel scandal where he,
That's cute,
yeah. He had just come off of that. He should have been thrown out of the NFL, but he came off of a 4-12 season where he was a freaking good quarterback that year, and his team didn't win. But
he didn't
he
play
was
that
good.
year. They went 4-12.
I thought he did. I thought he did that year.
Nope, the Texans sat him because of all the stuff.
So it was the year before? Because the year before he was really good.
The year before he played really well. Yeah.
Okay, so he had a really good season there, and he was sought after. So Cleveland threw money at him, and I'm sure Myles Garrett was in for that. I'm sure that they were like, hey, we're going to do this. And everybody's like, yes, he can play quarterback. We need a quarterback. Bring him in. And Deshaun Watson has pooped all over the franchise. That's Deshaun Watson's fault, not the Browns.
Cleveland didn't have to throw the checkbook at him like they did. Cleveland throwing the book at Deshaun Watson, a guy who hadn't played in almost 2 years, a guy riddled in controversy and all this stuff.
You don't know what other contracts were offered to Deshaun to go to other teams.
He wasn't offered because he was traded to Cleveland.
He was traded. So they wanted to make sure he was brought into the building because he was going around. Like he was going to the other team, like trying to figure out who would trade for him. The Dolphins were very much involved in this situation. And I was like, please do not bring him in. Brian Flores wanted him so bad.
Oh, yeah. I understand that. But do you think any other NFL franchise in the league would have given Deshaun Watson the money that the Cleveland Browns gave him? No. The answer is no. Not a chance. There's not a friend. Maybe the Raiders, the Cowboys were fine with Dak Prescott. They weren't signing Deshaun Watson. There's not a team in the NFL that would give Deshaun Watson the money that the Browns gave him.
I don't like to pretend that I know what happens behind closed doors in NFL.
They also traded their best receiver in Amari Cooper to the Cowboys. They also that was after they stunk, though.
That was after they stunk. Like they knew that Watson was hurt. And they knew they were in trouble, so they were trying to get draft capital.
So why not get draft capital now? You know how much he's going to get a king's ransom
because you're getting rid of a generational talent that probably has 3 or 4 years left.
He's got way more than 3 or 4 years.
Well, good years. I mean, he's 29.
He's got 3 or 4 prime time years left. But again, so if you're Cleveland, you're already going to start off on the wrong side of the totem pole this year without a quarterback. So more than likely they're going to have to draft a quarterback to play this year because Jameis Winston's not under contract, and I don't think he wants to go back to Cleveland. And you've got Nick Chubb, who's finally started looking like himself at the end of last year, but he's also getting up there in age after having 3 ACL injuries. I don't know who plays wide receiver for Cleveland at this point. Not going to lie. I don't. David Njoku? Jerry Jeudy. Okay, Jerry Jeudy.
He's their best one, and they had another one that I actually had on my fantasy team this year that I can't think of it. Tillman.
Not Cedric Tillman.
It might be. It's Tillman.
Okay, so you got Jerry Jeudy, who they traded for, had a couple of really decent games. That's fine. They've got David Njoku, good, serviceable tight end.
He had a good year 1 year, but not this last year.
Name one player on defense on Cleveland besides Myles Garrett.
I can't.
That's the point. They're terrible.
I honestly can't think of one.
Myles Garrett has done enough for Cleveland that Cleveland is going to come off of Myles Garrett, and they're going to get a King's ransom. I don't know where they get it from. Selfishly, I would like to see him to go to Detroit to, again, bookend Aiden Hutchinson. And I never can remember the guy's name that they traded for midseason. But, obviously he'd be a depth piece when one of those guys needs a break. But selfishly, I'd like to see him go to Detroit, but I don't think Detroit is going to give up the King's ransom that Myles Garrett is going to demand. But at the end of the day, I think all 31 teams are going to come calling for Myles Garrett. And somebody's going to make Cleveland a dumb enough offer that they're going to see what's happened with some of these franchises that have stocked up with draft capital, a la the Detroit. I mean, people very quickly forget Detroit did this exact same thing, 5-6 years ago, when they traded away Matt Stafford to LA for Jared Goff and a bunch of draft picks. And they turned those draft picks into Aiden Hutchinson, into Jahmyr Gibbs, who everybody said was a really stupid choice drafting a running back in the first round. And he might be one of the best running backs in the league at this point. And then Brian Branch and Jack, I can't think of his last name, a linebacker that they drafted out of Iowa. And not to mention Sam Laporta. All these draft picks they got have turned that roster into somebody who's competitive, albeit when they're healthy.
But they would not have done it if it wasn't for them to have Jared Goff in their pocket, because Jared Goff turned into a Pro Bowl player. That team would still, with all these draft picks, that team would still be junk if they didn't have a good quarterback.
Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl the year he got traded to the Rams, and Jared Goff.
I totally understand
Jared Goff had already gone to a Super Bowl with
that. Might have been like for like at this point, right? Because Matt Stafford's more of a gunslinger, and if he's his ceiling seems to be a little bit higher than Jared Goff sometimes, but then at other times Jared Goff seems to be better, right? So it's almost like a like for like. So that is what really made the deal happen for Detroit. That's what the roster change is, because they get all these first-round draft picks that are able to come in and play with a quarterback that's playing just as good as Matt Stafford.
So you mean to tell me, hypothetically, because you can only go three years out with first-round picks, you mean to tell me if somebody offers the Browns their 3 next first-round draft picks, a second this year, maybe a serviceable defensive end?
It's way too much.
But somebody's going to offer it.
No way.
Somebody's going to offer at least 2.
They get 3 first-round picks.
Somebody's going to offer at least 2.
Yeah,
at least 2.
There are a lot of dumb teams that are really bad. So, I mean, we know Myles Garrett is great, right? But he's not the best defensive end in football. He's not.
Who is?
You want the statistics?
Who is?
Well, he finished 2nd in sacks.
Okay.
6th in pass rush win rate.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. That's all he does. I mean, that's his big thing. He's a game changer. I'm not saying he's not.
Who's above him?
I'm not saying
who's above him? He's second in sacks.
I haven't looked at it. Huh?
He's second in sacks.
I don't know who is number 1 in sacks this year.
It's
a premium position. It's a premium position. I get it.
Yeah,
you want to have it.
You can't say that he's not the best defensive in the league without naming the guy who is. As a Detroit fan, I'm not saying Aiden Hutchinson is better than Myles Garrett.
No, I wouldn't say him either.
The only person I think would come close right now is Max Crosby. He's the only person I can think of. But right now, it's Max Crosby.
Depends on where you put him.
It's Myles Garrett and everybody else. Those are your 3 best defensive ends in football.
I'll look it up.
I'm telling you, Myles Garrett is going to get a King's ransom. Cleveland is going to try to turn their team around by trading out Myles Garrett. Unfortunately, they're so inept and incapable of creating Cleveland into a winner that it doesn't matter what they get for him. It's not going to, nothing is going to help them. While Bill looks that up,
you would take Micah Parsons.
I would
Same kind of player, and he's younger.
right now, would I take who? You're asking who would I take, Micah Parsons or
Yeah.
Myles
So
Garrett?
would you go Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons right now?
Myles Garrett.
Really? You would do that? Really? That's why Detroit loses all the time.
What do you mean they went 15-2 this year? What do you mean that's why they lose all the
Who's
time?
in the Super Bowl?
It
Oh, they didn't
doesn't
even make
matter.
the championship game. That's terrible.
They played 30 starters on defense.
Listen, the way they have it listed is Nick Bosa, T.J. Watt, Max
Bosa's a good one,
Crosby,
too.
Aiden Hutchinson, Khalil Mack, Josh Allen, not the quarterback,
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson, who led the league in sacks this year. I think that's who it was.
Okay.
Hendrickson. He was number 9 going into the season, and Jalen Phillips for the Dolphins is number 10.
I like the Bosas, but neither one of them can stay healthy.
Maybe he might be the best number 1, but yeah, it's a 1A, 1B I feel like with Micah Parsons, but I don't know. Hendrickson, I think, led the league in sacks this year, so it's a little weird. It's a little weird to give him so why do you give him the defensive player of the year? Like, why is that?
What do you mean? Why I didn't give it to him?
No, I'm just saying, why would they? If he didn't lead the league in sacks, he was second. He's only
I don't think they've announced
win
the league.
So we're not
winners
sure
this
yet.
year.
We're not sure
He's
yet.
the reigning defensive player of the year from 2023.
I don't think he wins it this year. Anyway, point is, I don't think you give that much for Myles Garrett. I just don't. His age is a little bit up there. I mean, like I look at like Julius Peppers. Like, remember Julius Peppers dropped off really bad.
Yeah,
well, I know, but remember how he dropped off really bad, and all of a sudden it was like he wasn't the same guy.
Yeah, he went to Chicago. That's where everybody goes.
Yeah,
that's where everybody
that's what that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm worried about with this guy. You know what I mean? Like, you go into a different scheme, defensive scheme, maybe a year, maybe 2, and then now you've given 3 draft picks. I'm just not down with it. I don't feel it.
I don't see it happening. Not with Myles Garrett, especially if he goes to a contender.
Because he's not fun to say wrong again, Ryan. When 3 years from now he gets 7 sacks.
All right, we'll see where that goes. But we got about half an hour left, and we're gonna talk some Super Bowl. I didn't realize we were gonna get almost 30 minutes out of Cooper Kupp and Myles Garrett, but
you can talk about anything.
Literally, it's one of the reasons my ex-wife left, because I talk too
much.
All right, Super Bowl is this Sunday as the Eagles take on the Chiefs, which begs the question, Bill. The last few Super Bowls I've spent with you, what are some of your favorite Super Bowl traditions?
I enjoy the squares game.
Yeah,
100 squares by the squares. I enjoy food, obviously, but the food, the food changes. Actually, I'm a chicken wing guy, and my dad has a tradition where he goes to Hooters every Super Bowl Sunday and picks up an order of Hooters. And I talked to him today; he's doing it again. And then I will be making, I'll be making my chicken wings. I used to have a tradition of making chili on Super Bowl Sunday, but we've kind of gotten past. That was more my mom's thing.
I got you.
And she passed away 10 years ago. So, yeah. But other than that, I mean, I love the parties. Parties are fun. And just getting together with people and watching the game. It's one of the very few sporting events that people get together to watch as a group on purpose, unless you're all fans of the same team. I think that's a lot of fun.
So I wish I could remember her name, and it's going to drive me nuts. Shout out to T-Bones in Charleston and specifically West Ashley. If my mom didn't make homemade wings, T-Bones makes a double fried wing that gives you the dip and sauce plus like the ranch or blue cheese on the side to die for. Also, not Super Bowl related, but I'm throwing it out anyway. Apparently, they have the best sheet crab soup in Charleston 4 years running. You should know I went to T-Bones over the weekend, but yeah, one of those things. There was at least one football event, and I want to say it was a Super Bowl. My mom went and got T-Bones double fried wings for everybody. And, to your point, food is number one. Like, whether it's tailgating or any football game, food is always up there. Like, you got to have the right spread, got to have the right beverage to go along with the food. I think to your point, like it's just kind of like hanging out with friends and watching the game.
Yeah.
It makes it better when your team is involved. When I was a kid, I was a Panthers fan, so I got to watch the Panthers go to the Super Bowl and lose to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Haven't got to see the Lions get there yet, but that'll be fun when they do. But yeah, it's just like, to me, it's opening day of like week 1 of NFL football, that Thursday night football, that always feels like Christmas Day because like football season is back. But then at the end of the season, you get a second Christmas Day. Because it's the last day of the season. You get to celebrate football one last time before we get to UFL in March. Trey Tolles comes in and says T-Bones has great fries. You need to tell my friend Aaron Thompson thinks my best friend Aaron Thompson thinks that I'm like one of two people that like T-Bones. I don't get it. Yeah, T-Bones got great food, man. I don't know what else to say. They're
is it the one on Market Street downtown? Like
no.
Isn't there T-Bones down there too?
There might be a T-Bones downtown.
I think I've been there twice down in Charleston.
So you and I, and this is going to get off topic again. We need to go down to Charleston. We need to go to Low Tide Brewery, get some Aloha Beaches straight out the tap.
Beaches, yeah.
We also I need to take you to the T-Bones of West Ashley because I think that was their original location. Like I got a whole history lesson from the general manager last weekend. Super sweet girl, told me about how they've had like one cook in that restaurant for 20 years, which is why the sheet crab soup hasn't changed, this, that, and the other. But yeah, there's some places we need to go down there, and T-Bones, at least the one that I always go to, we need to go to. Now I'm trying to get my thought back on the train. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's just Super Bowl is that the season finale, like legit season finale of football. And then we get the UFL in March, but that's not really as exciting. Then we get to speculate on draft time. As a video gamer, if you subscribe to EA Play for $30 a year, this week Madden drops for free. So if you like me and haven't bought Madden in the last few years, this is the weekend to get it for free. Bill will not play it because Madden is garbage. But I still like playing with the Lions. So yeah, a lot of stuff going for the Super Bowl. That makes it enjoyable. Like you said, getting together with friends. And since I've been coming to your house, we hang the jerseys. I don't know if we can hang the jerseys up this year, but we hang jerseys. Yeah, we hang jerseys. I've got mini helmets. You put mini helmets up and stuff like that to help decorate. So it's always a good time to just celebrate football one more time. But one thing that we don't talk a whole lot about when we're there are the NFL prop bets for the Super Bowl. Something that they do every year. And I figure we could spend some time doing it tonight because there's some pretty interesting prop bets that get thrown around. They're cute. There's some real gambling degenerates who actually bet on these things. But I figure we can kind of talk about some of them.
Insult people. Gambling degenerates.
Listen, I'm a degenerate gambler. I'm just responsible with it. Like, I guess that wouldn't make me a degenerate.
I do not gamble at all.
Degenerate gambling means that, like, you gamble where it's not legal to do so otherwise. So, like, fantasy football, well, I guess you can do it legally on, I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're not going to get into that debate here. Again, I see some folks on the stream, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. Join the conversation. Leave a comment, and we'll read them on the air. As far as, tell me what your favorite prop bets are this year, years past, whatever the case is. Bill sent me 4 of them. I've got 5 that we're going to go through. So let's start off with one. It's not a legal bet in the United States this year, but there's a prop bet for the length of the national anthem. It's under 121 seconds. I believe the shortest. They were talking about on the radio this morning. Shout out to the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. I think the longest was like 2 minutes and 35 seconds. And the shortest was like 119, 125, something like that. I don't even know who's singing the national anthem, but you ever paid attention? No, I've never sat and clocked it, but.
Not the length. I've never paid attention to length. Shout out to the late, great Whitney Houston.
Sorry. I had to throw it in there, dude.
All right, anyway, Whitney Houston, I still think she had the greatest, and I think it was just after Operation Desert Storm. I think that's about when the Super Bowl was, and I just remember that being very memorable. Her I think the Super Bowl was in Tampa, if I remember correctly, at the old Sombrero, and she had a fantastic rendition of the national anthem. My thing with the national anthem, it's not about the length. It's about singing the song. It has a tune. Do not American Idol this thing. Just sing the national anthem. That's all I care about. Demi Lovato had a decent one a couple years ago, but I don't know who's singing it this year. I haven't looked. All I know is doing the halftime show, and I'm not going to watch it.
I don't care about it either. Everybody's so excited. I really don't care.
I'm probably going to have to go do something.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you're looking for out of the national anthem. Now, yeah, I think it's following the tune and not trying to do a Fergie at the NBA All-Star game or a Roseanne Barr at that Major League Baseball game. Like, stick to the tune. Don't drag it out. Like, we don't need to be there. We don't need to break the record for the longest national anthem.
Right.
We're not here to watch your 3-minute chorus concert. We're here to watch a football game. get up, honor the country, sing the song, get off the field. You know,
It's a national anthem. Sing that.
yeah, sing
That's
the
what I
national
yes, that's what I like.
anthem. How about the next one? This is one you brought up. I couldn't find any odds on this.
Okay.
But
I can get odds for you.
Okay, sweet. The first drive outcome for both teams. I mean, it's going to be a nice little list for it. But Bill, this is one that you brought up. What I guess give me some numbers. Like I'm curious
they have
what
the
are.
Eagles listed. I don't think they have the Chiefs. I can give you the Eagles. Eagles, it's a plus 200 offensive touchdown, plus 30 or 350 for a field goal attempt, plus 140 for a punt, or any other outcome is plus 650. So if there's an interception, fumble, yeah.
Oh, that would be a decent little.
Yeah. Or a turnover on downs.
That would be a nice little payday.
That would 650. Yeah, that's pretty
plus
good.
Pay $1, win $650.
Well, no, it's on $100. So you would win if you pay $1. You win 65.
Yeah.
$6.50. That's what
you get what I'm saying. Yeah, plus 650. That's interesting. All right.
If you bet $100, you would win $650.
Yeah, bet 100. Yeah, that's you knew what I was saying.
Yeah. I remember we had
this conversation about gambling.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting to see what happens. What do you think is going to happen? You think whoever gets the ball first?
Eagles?
Let's say the Eagles get the ball first. Do you think they go down the field and score?
I feel field goal. I don't think. I think it's really hard to score in your opening drive. I feel it's a field goal.
How about Chiefs? I got them going 3 and out if they get the ball first.
I hope they get shut out. So punt, fumble, interception. Patrick Mahomes has to cry and punt.
I can't wait to watch this game with you because I'm going the opposite way. We'll get that to the end of the show. All right, here's one. It's the first play of the game, whether it's a run or a pass.
Yeah,
the run is a favorite at minus 140. The pass is the underdog at plus 110. Bill, you think? I mean, obviously, regardless who the team is, I think we're going to see a run first play of the game, regardless.
Probably, especially well, I mean, the Chiefs, you don't know because their best player is their quarterback, and they don't have great running backs. Although Kareem Hunt's been playing pretty well recently.
Pacheco was on fire until he got hurt.
Yeah, but Kareem Hunt's been pretty good. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that's a good bet. But that's why it's bet $100. You have to actually have. What is it? You have to bet $140 to win $100 or something?
No, you bet 100 to win 40. I think that's how it works.
No, it's the opposite. When it's negative, you have to bet the amount.
So you have to bet 140 to win 100
to get $100. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right. Well, one day we'll get this gambling stuff down.
I almost really want to.
I almost dropped a bad word there for a second. All right. The next one up is the first touchdown score. There's a bunch of names here. The ones that are favored to get the first touchdown are the ones that these sort of expect. It's hard for. I think what I read was that quarterbacks very rarely score the first touchdown in Super Bowls, which is why Saquon Barkley is plus 400 and Kareem Hunt is plus 900 to get the first touchdown. Considering that Kareem Hunt, I think, ended the season in the playoffs finding the end zone quite a bit. If you're watching the video stream, you'll see the scroll across, and you could always Google these numbers too. But you've got guys like Jalen Hurts at plus 700, Patrick Mahomes, believe it or not, at plus 2,200. And then you've got some receiver numbers to go along with those. Kelsey at plus 1,000, Xavier Worthy at plus 1,200. If you look on the other side, you've got A.J. Brown at plus 1,300, Devontae Smith at plus 1,700. Bill, if you had to make a bet on who's going to score the first touchdown here, who would you put your money on right now?
It's going to be fun to see which team gets the ball first and then what happens, because that's obviously going to affect this. But I mean, I would put for me Saquon.
Yeah, same.
I think on both sides of the ball this year he's the best player, offensively.
Yeah.
So I think Saquon. But what I do find odd about this, Ryan, is that the top 2 players are Saquon and Jalen Hurts, but yet the Chiefs are favored in the game. So that's wild to me that the two people that all of America or all of people betting in Vegas think will score the first touchdown are not going to be on the winning team. So that's interesting.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I guess I'm more surprised that Jalen Hurts isn't higher than plus 700, considering like if they get on the goal line, you and I both know they're going tush push for the team.
Right, exactly. Right, yeah.
So yeah, interesting. That's a good point. Oh, in fairness, the spread isn't that big, so we'll see what happens there.
But they're still favorite. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, it's not a big. It's actually a really low over under as well.
I didn't see the over under. We'll talk about that here later in the show.
48.5. That's low.
That's pretty low.
It's two good defensive teams.
Well, yeah, I was going to say they've got
the ninth best defenses in football.
Yep. All right. Let's look at the next prop bet here. This is one I can't remember where I found this one. This is the distance of Patrick Mahomes' first touchdown pass, and they're both minus 110, and the over under is 9.5 yards. I think it's pretty safe to say he's going to throw a touchdown longer than this, right?
Yeah, and it's going to go the other direction. It should be negative 45 because the Eagles are going to intercept it and return it for a touchdown.
I love how much you're hating on Kansas City. This is
because they shouldn't be there. That's why.
It's going to make a real fun Sunday for us. All right, the next one we're going to look at. This is when you presented two. It's a 2 or more touchdown score, and the odds on players scoring more than one touchdown. Saquon Barkley once again is the favorite here at plus 300. You got some other guys like Jalen Hurts at plus 650, AJ Brown all the way down there at plus 1400. The receivers are all really, really big money plays if you really want to bet the underdog on here. Your top three would be Saquon, Hurts, and Kelsey, because Kelsey's known to find the end zone in big games like this multiple times. Bill, if there's anybody that's going to score 2 touchdowns this game, I think the reason why Saquon is plus 300 is both of us can agree that Saquon is the kind of guy that could easily find 3 touchdowns in this game if they can get the run game going in Philadelphia.
From a distance as well. Saquon, especially in the playoffs, he's been known for breaking massive runs and just, daggering every team that he's playing. Again, I find that crazy that Saquon and Jalen are 1 and 2, and the Eagles aren't favored. And that's the betting favorites. You know what I mean? The betting favorites are that the Chiefs are getting the majority of the bets, not many more, like you said, but still, in both of these situations, Saquon and Jalen being number 1, and then it's like the people turn around and go, but the Chiefs are going to win. Like, okay, but the over-under is 48.5, and you've already got them getting 2 touchdowns. So this is it's interesting. It's kind of weird to it's interesting to read these numbers.
Well, doing a lot of talking about Saquon, let's stick with Saquon here.
Yeah.
And the next prop bet that I found is, will Saquon rush for 150 or more yards? The Chiefs have not allowed a lot of running back rushing yards. I think that what I heard on the radio, again, shout out Rob Brown, was that he had, I think, Chuba Hubbard ran for like 50, 58, 59 yards, but nobody else ran for 100 yards against the Chiefs. The 150 plus to do it is a plus 250 bet. For him not to make it is minus 300. I listen, if the Eagles are going to have a chance to win, Saquon Barkley has to run for 150 plus. Bill, do you think he hits it, or do you think he falls short of that 150?
I don't think he has to run for 150 plus, but I don't think he hits it. I think they can win with him. I think he has to go over 100. But I mean, he's the best player. He's the best player on that team. He is the best player on offense. However, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are fantastic, and Dallas Goedert's not awful. So, I mean, you don't know. AJ Brown could go off in this game. I mean, we don't know. Can McDuffie hold him down? I don't really think so. I mean, AJ Brown is huge. Would
it be fair to say that Saquon is the best player? I mean, granted, take Patrick Mahomes out of the situation. Like, the best non-Patrick Mahomes in this game. Would you argue that Saquon Barkley is the best football player on the field?
I think on offense, I think even with Patrick Mahomes in the conversation, that this season Saquon Barkley is the scariest player on the field.
Yeah, I agree.
Individually, now it's a team game, obviously, and Andy Reid's a fantastic coach. Like that, let's not take away from Andy Reid and how great he makes Patrick Mahomes look in a lot of situations. Now, Patrick Mahomes makes a lot of crazy plays. But at the same time, when you talk about it physically and when he gets the ball, every time you see him touch you go, that's Saquon Barkley. You're doing that right now. That's how good he's been.
Yeah, it's listen, like I said, if the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl, Saquon's going to have a huge game, in my opinion. This is one that I found. This prop bet is one that I found that was interesting for all the wrong reasons, and it's what color liquid will be poured on the game-winning head coach.
Orange.
So what's funny, I think I read somewhere that the last 2 times the Chiefs have won big games like this, they poured purple on Andy Reid, which is why purple is the favorite at plus 100.
That's awesome. So that's just what the players prefer.
Yeah.
The Gatorade that they want on the field, right?
Yep. And then what used to be like the consensus, like the normal, was like clear or water, is got the biggest odds at plus 1,200. I think orange was poured on Andy Reid back in 2020, 2019, whatever it was.
Okay.
But having said all that, I mean, you look at the other colors, you got yellow, green is plus 200, blue is plus 600, orange is plus 750. I think we're considering everything that I've said. I think purple is probably going to be the one. If you're going to put money on, you're going to do it.
I guess, since it's been like the last two,
if you're a degenerate gambler, you're like, I'm going to do what I can to try to win as much money as possible.
Yeah.
I'm putting $100 on water, baby. Let's go water. H2O.
Ryan, that just opened up a whole new thought for me that I don't think I've ever had. But do football players actually look for the Gatorade bottle that they prefer when they're on the sideline? Like, dudes are like, "Where's my cup? Where's the purple at? Oh no, lemon lime's right here." And they're like, "I don't want that one. Where's the purple at?"
Imagine they're asking for hydration because they've got the trainers that shoot the bottles into their mouth.
Yeah.
Imagine getting shot like you're expecting grape and you get lemon lime. Like, ew, gross. Give me my bottle.
I've never had that thought in my life. Now that we're talking about the colors of the Gatorade, and I'm like, now are they dumping the purple because nobody wants the purple? So everybody's drinking the lemon lime during the game because the lemon lime's supposed to be best for hydration if you read science, right? So the purple at the end's like, well, that's the one we're going to use because only Xavier drank it. Like it doesn't matter. I've never had this thought in my life. And here's the other thing: like, what if it turns their mouth colors? Like now, I'm thinking, well, maybe it would look funny if they had purple mouths when they came onto the field like that. Now
I can't believe we're having a conversation.
My whole world
about
is
this.
different now.
Well, not only this, but think about this: how do they decide? Do they have a vote in the locker room where they put their names on a piece of paper?
And do they have to label it?
No. Like what if it's like, all right, guys, we're not doing this. We're gonna have one flavor of Gatorade. Let's vote on it.
Yeah.
And so the team has to vote. And if it winds up being purple, and you're like, I can't drink grape.
I don't like
you have
purple.
Your own water bottle. Like purple's worse. Just give me my own water. I don't want this. Like
I've never thought of this before. But maybe that's why Myles Garrett wants out of Cleveland. They voted his color of Gatorade out of the locker room.
Stupid orange Gatorade.
I'm a super big favorite of fruit punch, bro. If we're not gonna have fruit punch, I'm not gonna play here.
Give me that Mountain Berry Blast. I want that Honolulu Blue. Take me to Detroit where I'm gonna get blue Gatorade, bro. Get this orange junk out of here.
It's terrible.
This might be a good reel. This is amazing.
I know. I've never heard this. I've never thought of that before. It's amazing. I want somebody to. I want to be credentialed now at the Super Bowl and ask that question. What color Gatorade y'all prefer?
Well, apparently they've got. Apparently anybody can get credentialed to ask these stupid questions. Because there's a bunch of people that were asking.
I saw the one. I saw the one that asked Patrick Mahomes. Did you see it?
Yeah,
where he says, "Hey, who's your favorite ref?"
Yeah, like you don't have one that you send a Christmas card to.
Yeah,
or no, one was one guy asked Travis Kelce.
He just goes, "Good question. Next question."
Yeah, he was one guy asked Travis Kelce like, "Who do you love more, Taylor Swift or the NFL officiating?" He's like, "That's a great question. Who's next?"
Yeah.
So
he's got such a personality.
We have a podcast. We could probably get credentialed if we knew the right person.
How many people listen to you a week? Like 4, 5, maybe.
Listen, it doesn't matter.
Like 7.
I got free tickets to a Panthers game doing the Cat Cave. We might legitimately have 7 people to listen to that show.
It's a great idea. And all we want to know is what color Gatorade.
Listen, we got one question. How does your team decide what Gatorade is in the coolers? Like, do you have separate Gatorade coolers?
Want to whip my prop bet.
Do you have them like marked? Like, do you have
dude, I'm gonna be looking at the sideline now.
You have an orange jug that's for like orange Gatorade. Is there like a green one for lemon lime? Like, do you have a piece of tape?
That's what I'm saying. There's got to be duct tape that says like purple drink on it, and like that's what's gonna happen. Like that, I'm gonna be looking for this now.
Which one?
Grape, orange, lemon, lime.
Which one has HGH? Which one has creatine? Which one is just the plain? Which one's got the caffeine in it? Like, we gotta know. These are questions. These are questions that people gotta know. NFL teams, we got to do it. We got to do it. We have to go. We have to find our way into every NFL team's at least one press conference. Like, listen, Ryan Frick, tap outs and touchdowns. I gotta
Yeah.
know, how do you choose what Gatorade flavor? Like who's in charge? Is there a vote? Like, is there an election? Do you have debates on why purple Gatorade is better than blue, or why orange is better than lemon lime? Like, does the team captain just decide? Is it the trainer's decision? Does the head coach get to decide?
All right, you're opening up a lot of options here, a lot of opportunity for questions, but we need to figure out how we can find this out.
I'm with
There's
you.
got to be Google has
Pedro
to have
says
an
no
answer.
birds. I don't. Has anybody ever been dumb enough to ask this question? Because we might be.
What? Did you just call us dumb?
I love it. Listen, I'm actually working on something right now. I wish I was so dumb that I didn't know how dumb I was, because then I would be the happiest person in the world. Imagine going up to somebody like 2 + 2 is 5, moron. Peace out, and walking away and not caring about it because you were so dumb that you think you're right, and like you never thinking about it again. Pedro says the script says it's red for the Chiefs. Yeah, no, I would love to be so dumb that I didn't know how dumb I was. Because can you imagine how happy you'd be thinking you're the smartest person in the room? Nobody can tell you otherwise.
Google has a theory.
What's the theory?
Football teams typically choose their Gatorade flavor based on a combination of factors, including player preference, superstition, and sometimes the color associated with the flavor. So, like the Ravens would have purple.
Oh yeah. It's not good enough. We need
know.
concrete answers. All right, let's go to the last prop bet before we actually go into picking the Super Bowl. The last prop bet we're going to talk about is the Super Bowl MVP. As expected, Patrick Mahomes is your odds-on favorite to win Super Bowl MVP at +110, with the person we've been talking about most on the show, Saquon Barkley, at number 2 at +250. Behind him, Jalen Hurts at +370, Travis Kelce at +1,600. It jumps pretty drastically from Jalen Hurts to Travis Kelce. Xavier Worthy, an interesting +3,100, and A.J. Brown +3,300. Listen, if I'm trying to make a bunch of money, I'm betting all like the big underdogs. Like I'm taking A.J. Brown at +3,300. But like, again, depending on who wins, I think if the Chiefs win, it's probably going to find a way to be Patrick Mahomes.
Again,
or for that matter, Kareem Hunt. If the running game
or Travis
going,
Kelce.
I don't want to see Travis Kelce. If Travis Kelce finds the end zone twice, he's the MVP. Otherwise, I think for the Eagles, it's either going to be, again, your two favorites, Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Which kind of all boils down to basically just who wins, right? You're not going to
I think so.
You're not going to give. There's a bowl game where somebody on the losing team got named the MVP of the game, and that very rarely ever happens. And I don't think it's ever happened in the Super Bowl. But it brings us to picking the Super Bowl game. Before we get that, we got to put a kind of a book in, put a stamp on podcast pick'ems here. We both went 2-0 conference championship week, but Bill gets the overall season win at 63-35. I broke 500 thanks to going 2-0 with you on conference championship weekend. I finished the season at 49-48. With that being said, the Super Bowl takes place this Sunday, 6:30 p.m. What's up?
Two things. I haven't missed a game in over a month. That's crazy. I know. That's crazy. Come on. How much money would I be making right now if I was betting the spread on these games?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because it is against the spread, right? That makes it harder. One time, the MVP has come from a losing team in the Super Bowl. And it was Super Bowl V. The man's name was Chuck Howley. He was a linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. They lost to the Baltimore Colts 16-13 on a late field goal. He recorded 2 interceptions and 1 fumble recovery and was the MVP of the Super Bowl, even though his team lost.
Makes sense. Good for him.
There's your trivia question for the day. You can bring that one to your Super Bowl party and say, hey, how many times?
Yep.
I wouldn't even name the guy, but Chuck Howley. That's the guy.
Chuck Howley. All right, Super Bowl 59. I can't believe it's Super Bowl 59. The Super Bowl is 21 years older than me. Super Bowl 59 takes place Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time over on Fox at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Philadelphia Eagles, the champions of the NFC, take on the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a 1.5-point favorite. Bill, who wins Super Bowl 59?
Go Eagles.
Listen, the only reason I want Philly to win is for Saquon Barkley. However, after knowing how the Philadelphia Eagles fans are to other fan bases, after seeing countless videos of how they treat people, of everything that we've talked about, fans were sitting in the stands. I think they were Bills fans. They were just getting pelted from the upper deck by snowballs. I don't think the Eagles fans deserve to win anything. If there was a former Gamecock on the Eagles team, is the only reason why I'd root for them. But as much as I do not want to see Patrick Mahomes get a three-peat, I would prefer the Chiefs to get the win over the Eagles. Give me the Chiefs to win by 10 plus. I just don't think that Philadelphia has enough in them. Give me the Chiefs to win Super Bowl 59. That's my pick. I can't wait. We're gonna fight the whole like we're actually gonna actively root against each other's teams.
I mean, I'm good with that. I just don't. I don't think that the Chiefs deserve to even be there. So
why don't they deserve to be there? There was a bunch of games we talked about this. Like the games
there's
they
about
won
6
by
or 7
score.
games during the season that they won by less than a touchdown or less. One possession, and I think it was 4 or 5 of those games. There was a penalty call or some sort of controversial call to allow them to score at the end of the game. And had they lost those games, they wouldn't have had the number 1 seed. We'll see what happens. And then let's just go to the Buffalo game. We didn't even come on here to talk about the Buffalo game and the craziness that happened there. Only in the NFL, you can watch something and see it with your own eyes, and the NFL tell you that you did not see what you saw. It's only in the NFL. It's the only thing I've ever seen.
It's crazy that they have technology in tennis to show when a ball is out of bounds when they hit
not even the first down. Not even the first down, but the Xavier Worthy with the ball touched the ground. Everybody saw it, and the other guy had caught the ball, but because Xavier Worthy had one hand on the ball as it hit the ground, they're like, it's a catch. And Dez Bryant wasn't a catch. Stop. Like, I'm done with this craziness. It's only in the NFL.
But you can't tell me that there's not technology to put a sensor on the ball.
Oh yeah,
and put a sensor on the yard markers. So if that ball passes that sensor, I mean, it's like a shock collar. Their shock collars have this technology where if you go past the line, it makes a noise. It makes a shock.
They could listen. 20 years ago, they put sensors in a hockey puck so that they could show a streak going across the ice to try to make it easier for visualization.
Yeah.
They've had this technology for decades. The NFL doesn't even pay their officials as professional officials. They want to make as much money and put it in their pocket as they possibly can. That's all the NFL is about. They're not going to do it if it costs them anything until people stop watching the games. And we know that they're not going to stop watching the games. It's just like the more you talk about it, even if it's bad publicity, the NFL just continues to gain viewership. However, maybe there's a turn in the positive direction. I don't know. But ticket prices, I heard, for the Super Bowl are less than they have been in quite a few years.
Nobody wants to go. Nobody wants to go watch these two teams.
Yeah.
They wanted Lions Bills in the Super Bowl.
I don't know about Lions, but they definitely wanted the Bill. When it came, Lions were 3 weeks ago. Like that happened. I mean, Redskins Bills. No, I would rather gone with Eagles Bills. I think
it's Commanders. Bill, get it right. They're the Washington Commanders.
No, I can't because they're going to change it back eventually. Because the other Native American tribes are going to win their lawsuit. So
Bill Senior came in. Thanks for watching, Bill Senior. Listen, we're going to sign off here in a second. Next week's show, we're going to break down the Super Bowl. Maybe there's going to be some officiating that we can talk about in the game. Maybe we can look ahead to the UFL. My mom thinks the Chiefs win due to bad calls by refs. Okay.
See?
I
when there's smoke, there's fire. That's terrible.
I've got an idea that I was going to pitch to you tonight, which is what I'm going to do. So a few weeks ago, I mentioned the fact that why don't they have positional awards in the NFL like they do in college football, like with the Biletnikoff and the Doak Walker? So I think next week we ought to look back. We ought to take a look back at what this season was in the NFL and look back on what we had predicted, how we had the teams finishing out the season, and then maybe give out some podcast awards. Not like they're going to care, not like we have a trophy to give them, but maybe we ought to give some awards here on the show to culminate season 6 of Tap Outs and Touchdowns, and on the football side of things. Bill, you good with that?
I mean, don't they call that the All-Pro team?
No, we're going to give our own all-pro team. And it's going to be more important because you and I are the ones putting it together.
How are we going to go like the real all-pro team? Are you mad that enough Lions didn't make the all-pro team, so you want to add?
No.
Okay. Are you lying?
I just figured we could go through and just give our own tap outs and touchdowns awards. Maybe it's not the guy who had 2,000 yards rushing. Maybe it was a guy that we thought was more valuable to his team and helped us to carry the team more on his back, more so than a team that actually made the playoffs, whatever the case is. So yeah, we'll wrap up football season next week. The Royal Rumble happened. I still haven't had a wrestling show. We're probably going to do a wrestling show in the next couple of weeks as the Elimination Chamber is a mere almost 3 weeks away. John Cena makes his final appearance in Toronto at the Elimination Chamber for a shot to headline WrestleMania. Again, the Royal Rumble took place last weekend. I haven't gotten a chance to talk about it. Congratulations to Jey Uso, who for winning the men's Rumble, and Charlotte Flair for winning the women's. We're going to have a wrestling show again at some point before WrestleMania. And then I guess as WrestleMania comes and goes, the UFL will be kicking off. So it'll be a fun non-break for your guy, Bully Rai. So we'll see what goes from there. I appreciate everybody who joined the show tonight. It was sort of a quiet night, which is fine because Bill and I got to do some rants about Gatorade colors and why Myles Garrett will get a King's ransom in a trade on this offseason. Make sure if you haven't done so, go follow and like the page on Facebook at facebook.com/tapouts and touchdowns. Share the page with your friends. We're still up looking to get our first 1,000 followers on Facebook. Michelle's in the chat. It says, can't wait to see you next week, Bill. As Bill's going back to Washington State. Apparently it snowed up there today. So good stuff there. If you want to follow the show on X, I am very active on the show's X profile at Tapouts and TDs, on YouTube where we were live tonight, YouTube at Tapouts and Touchdowns. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at Ryan Frick Comedy. Thank you so much for listening, joining the show, whoever you did it. We'll be back next week to wrap up football season. For Banker Bill, it's your guy, Bully Rai. We'll see you next time right here on Tapouts and Touchdowns.